Hello, hello, hello. Here we are live at Heroes Martial Arts. I'm just talking right now. So it looks like, so I know that the audio is working, which actually I know has been an issue before. Clearly, this isn't our normal operating procedures. Hello, hello, hello. Here we are live at Heroes Martial Arts. I'm just talking right now. So it looks like, so I know that the audio is working, which actually I know has been an issue before. Here we go. Facebook stream going. Turn this off. Go back up. YouTube stream going. A little bit later than I meant to, but it's your schedule today. It is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. A little into a month on our shelter at home. Once again, I'm Gumby. You're here at Heroes Martial Arts. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep building and working and showing you things based off of the last couple of lessons. Now, if I cover anything or if I discuss anything that hasn't come up before, or if you're not familiar with it, I promise you, if you go back and look at the archives of our YouTube page and our shelter at home classes, particularly my classes, I'm covering what we had covered before there and building upon it each class, okay? Realistically, I'm trying to kind of keep us engaged. I'm trying to establish a sense of normalcy. Hence, that's why I have the gi on today. Do I need the gi for working today? Not really. Do I need the gi for jiu-jitsu? Debatable. I like training in both gi and no gi. But gi gives me a sense of normalcy. It makes me feel better. I'm happy to have it on. Today, I have one of my favorite gis. This is the World's Edition in blue, Wong versus knee gi. Really, I bust this one out for good trainings or competitions because this weight in this field is absolutely one of my favorite gis. And I have a lot of good gis in my arsenal, but this is definitely one that fits me pretty much perfectly, okay? As always with these classes, I like to have a start, a middle, and an end. The start and the middle will kind of seem to blend together because we're going to do a lot of warm-ups, a lot of exercises, a lot of solo type drills that I think will be useful to you in jiu-jitsu. I'm going to introduce a different move into there. And then I'll go ahead and show how to apply that in training, solo training, quarantine training, if you will, using the yoga ball or the Swiss ball. Okay, and at the end of doing that, giving you a couple of things you can do with that, a couple of things to think about, a couple of demos. We'll go ahead and do a cool down. And that's going to be our class for the day. Man. I'll be frank. I woke up not too long ago, okay? I've been trying to keep to a regular routine of waking up at just before 6, which I normally do to get to the 6:30 a.m. class, which I can't wait to get back to. But today, actually, I got out of bed at 6, wandered around the house, ate a banana, and then fell back asleep for a while. But establishing good habits, maintaining the good habits that we had before quarantine are pretty important. We can fall out of it pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm going to start this off stretching. I'm going to open up. I'm going to release right now, extend out my hands, open up my fingers, lean back a little bit, expand my chest, and breathe deeply in through my nose. Exhale through my mouth. Inhale through my nose. Exhale through my mouth. Inhale through my nose. Exhale through my mouth. Inhale through my nose, lean back. Exhale through my mouth. Good. Slight bend in my knees. I'm just going to go for some torso twists. Kind of start up the motion right here. Kind of shake the cobwebs or whatnot off myself. Sit into a squat position. Do the same thing. Look at the ceiling. Should move that stretch a little higher up your back. This does for me. Good. Rotator cuffs. Arms outstretched, palms up. Circles forward. Building up into big looping motions. And then we can do the same thing. So go backwards again, start small, build up to bigger and bigger motions. Get to the head and neck. This is just warm up, not exercise. Let's call this exercise. We'll go ahead with head rotations, warming up the neck, chin to chest, ear to shoulder, look up, ear to the opposite shoulder, back down. Move at your own pace, clockwise and counterclockwise, back and forth, left and right, side to side, and every point in between. Get guys motion through that. Nice and loose. Excellent. Let's go ahead and go air squats. Feet about shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward. Picked up a tip from Sean's class last week where I'm going to try to be on my heels. I'm going to try to be able to wiggle my toes on this. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead, keeping my posture good, shoulders over hips, sit down. I'm going to aim for 20 of these. Again, I'm going nice and easy. Nice depth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Just more warm-ups, push-ups. Okay, we're gonna go pretty easy. 20 of these. Set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I don't know what else visualizes this. I don't think of this so much as pushing myself away from the ground. It's pushing the ground away from me. Let's go our parachuters. Once again, we'll do 20. Good pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And in the middles now. It's a timer. I'm going to say 30 seconds. All right, flatten your back, reach out. Big deep breath into your nose. Call it down crunch, reach between your feet. Small back at your ground, hold here. Exhale slowly through your mouth. When you run out of air, don't just hold it there. Come back down, big deep breath into your nose. Repeat the process. I'm working at my pace, what works for me right now, although I can control my breath. You work at your pace. We'll meet up at the end. Big deep breath into your nose. Down crunch there. Exhale slowly through your mouth. All right, we're going to do our ups, our explosive core strength. With in the middles, the out crunches represent slow twitch muscles. This one I think of as a fast twitch exercise. So we're going to go ahead and do our ups explosively. Hips way up, feet way up, really pushing up and high as you can go.
remember, your feet are a little bit away from your hips when you do this. You don't want to develop a habit of hip stack. And I keep my chin tucked into my chest. I also don't want to get a habit of breaking over my neck. 20 times. It's way up there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, our neck exercises. You know the routine, 20 chin to chest, 20 chin to each shoulder, 20 ear to each shoulder. And per usual, you want to make it through this rotation without having your head actually touch the mat. We'll count them out together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Chin to chest. 2 equals 1. Both sides. Try to do this without having your head touch the mat. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And 20 ears or shoulders. Again, 2 equals 1. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Awesome. Over the shoulder bridges, that is where you bring your feet in close to your body, push off the ground, you lift up your hips, you reach up and over the tops of your collarbones, clavicles, not on the sides of your arms. Those of you who've been with me for a while will know, in terms of those escapes, in terms of developing habits, this, moving over this portion, the UPA, will lead to a successful escape. This, leading over your side, a roll, will lead to you giving up your back in an opportune time. I'll go from here. We'll alternate left and right, feet close to my body, push off the ground, lift up my hips, up and over my collarbone. I don't work a particular pace on this, kind of stretch out to the point where it feels good. And then I come back, I do it on the opposite side, alternate left and right. Again, driving off the ground. I'm a ground fighter, how I connect to the ground, from the ground through my feet, through my knees, through my hips, up and over my collarbones. That is an over shoulder bridge right there. Let's get a few more of those in. I do these even when I'm not training jiu-jitsu, just because it moves my back in a way I think feels pretty good. Anything that I can do to extend myself, move out, correct my posture, sitting at the desk, correct my posture from years of being hunched over, curled up and doing my guard work. Feels pretty good to me. Work at your own pace on this one. All right, good. Hip escapes in place. Again, quick summary, the key is when I do the hip escape, I tend in place when I'm not working along the mat, when I have limited amount of space, I tend to lift my hips up into the air so I don't go any place as opposed to scooting them along the ground. One leg planted on the ground, turn to my side so my toes and my straight leg are pointing to the ground. Now what I'll do is I'll push with my bent leg, lifting my hips up, scoot my hips back. Sorry, some of these things roll off the tongue too easily. Pull my knee into myself. There we go. Switch. Okay. Always complete your motion before you make your switch. Push with my bent leg, lifting my hips up, pull my knee to my chest. And there we go. Just go ahead. At your own pace right now. You can follow along with me. Do a few sets of this. more, more, more. Keep going. Keep going. You don't have to go fast for this. I never want to tell you that. I'd rather that you're accurate as opposed to fast. I'd rather that you go ahead and smooth will translate to speed later. Okay? Even for me right now, since I'm not used to doing this variation, it's taking me a little bit more. All right, good.
A few more, we're doing great. Streamers. So we'll go back to an ab crunch.
Chin off to your chest, shoulders off the ground, really just on the small of your back. Relax your hips so your knees fall apart. Pull your toes in so you're going jiu-jitsu feet. And go ahead, start paddling inwards right now. Again, this is all hip rotation. I'm just simply opening and closing my knees. Your knees don't rotate. Keep your feet rigid as you do this. Switch directions, paddle out. Switch directions, paddle in. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Pick up the pace if you haven't already. A little bit of speed gives you a little bit momentum, makes you a little bit looser, makes this a little bit easier to do. In. Well, I bob my head when I do this, but I do. Out. There we go. In. A few more seconds. Keep going, keep pushing, keep going, keep pushing. Out. In. Out. Excellent.
All right, we're not quite done yet. I got one more for you for the warm-up routine. These are going to be the sit-outs, especially since the last class we talked about turtle position. Sit-outs are a big part of turtle, both for your escape, sometimes your maintenance on it too, but mainly for your escape. Now, I'm not going to say that turtle is unique to jiu-jitsu. Actually, turtles are much more of a wrestling move. If you've done any level of wrestling before, at any level, you might be familiar with this move. It's a very basic move. It's a very good warm-up. It's one that we're going to go ahead and do right now. What I'll do for a sit-out is I'll start in a 4-point position. I tend to like to have my hands about shoulder width apart, but I tend to make my feet about 6 inches wider on each side right now for this, okay? But I'm on all fours, on my hands and my feet. When I do a sit-out, I'm going to kick opposite foot to where my opposite hand is, so I'm going to kick in kind of a diagonal fashion. And as I go ahead and kick or make my leg out that way, you'll notice that my hips, torso, and shoulders and head all kind of point up, post off on the ground. Okay, right now, since I'm holding the position, I'll go ahead and post on the ground, but I'll come back quickly. Now I'll go ahead and switch and go opposite side. So first one I did, my right hand to where my left, my right foot to where my left hand was. This one I'm going to go ahead and go to left hand towards where my right hand would be. Left foot to where my right hand is. Again, kicking it out in a diagonal fashion. Notice I'm going forward, boom, looking up. I have my hand to my side, and then I'll come back in. That's a sit out. Okay. You can start off this form and go slow to start off with. Boom. Again, I care about accuracy more than speed. I care about proper form more than anything else. And I want you to notice that each time I do this, my foot is kicking out in the direction of where my hand was. Okay? You don't want to do one of these where I'm just going head kicking back, my foot goes backwards. That's a pretty useless move to me as far as I'm concerned when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Okay? So the foot is always kicking out towards the front. Okay? The slower version of this right now, if this is the first time you've seen this, and it might well be, okay? We'll go ahead at your own pace. Here, come back. Here, come back. Each time I do this, I'm really going to go from looking on the floor to looking at the ceiling. Boom. Look at the floor. Look at the ceiling. Look at the floor. Look at the ceiling. Okay? And each time I do this, again, you'll see I'm kicking out and away from myself. Think of it, I'm moving on a diagonal plane right now between my shoulder and my hip each time. My shoulder and my hip. Okay? As you get better and faster at that one, you can go ahead and do a no foot touch version. Okay? First, you can go ahead and kick out each time, but your foot actually doesn't touch the ground. That's a basic sit out right there. Okay? Fix my pants before this broadcast becomes X-rated. At your own pace right now, sit out. We'll do this about another 30 seconds. Follow along, I'll go slow to start off with, and then I'll build up. Here, good, good. I'm looking up towards the ceiling. 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 Faster, you know, so my foot doesn't touch. Come back. All right, excellent. Check something here. Go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and get that Swiss ball out. This one for, if you're counting and measuring, I got off of Amazon. It's labeled at 75 centimeters. I have a 65 centimeter one around here. I used to have a 55 centimeter one, but it disappeared. I have a hunch where it went, but can't prove it yet. But at any rate, here's my ball, okay? I like to drill, even before the quarantine happened. Sometimes I'll do movement drills to get warm, get loose. I pretend this is an opponent. Okay, but so far what we've done is we worked this as a way of explaining weight distribution and control. Okay, weight distribution and control, quick summary. Anytime I think about weight distribution, I think about it in terms of posture. I think about it in terms of corners of the box. I think about it in terms between shoulders and hips. Okay, sometimes I want my weight towards my shoulders. Okay, I want to be heavy, I want to concentrate there. Sometimes I want my weight towards my hips. Okay. I think for most people, when they start out jiu-jitsu, learning how to be heavy on their hips, okay, is a little bit counterintuitive. Most people know how to be heavy from their chest down. You take these planks where we're way up here. My weight's now towards my head and my shoulders right here. My hips are light. Okay. In my estimation, if I did this has its value sometimes, but a lot of times if I had this position, I'm very vulnerable being put back in the guard. Okay. Particularly somebody that's a flexible guy like myself, I'm going to try to put you back in the guard. Okay. In order to prevent that against flexible folks, in order to have my motions, I need to know how to drive through my hips sometimes. Okay. And I need to have body awareness. I need to know what I'm doing. Is my weight towards my hips? Or is my weight towards my shoulders? Okay. And I also need to have an awareness of, given the situation I'm at, what is more appropriate? Should I put my weight on my hips? Should I put my weight on my shoulders, depending on what my opponents do? Do I put my hips on my opponent's hips, or do I put my chest on my opponent's chest? It's always a conscious decision every time I do this, okay? For working with the ball right now, I think this is an excellent opportunity for us to get good at working with the hips, okay? So, going back to the ball right now, I'm gonna go ahead and fall out, connect to the ground, so it's kind of grabbing into it, and I'm driving one of my hips into the ball. Bony part of my hip, the point of my pelvis right there, is really trying to drive in and pop the ball at this point right now. But notice when I do this, I am connecting to the ground with both feet. I'm never heavy just because I'm floating on top of somebody. I am heavy because of how I'm connected to the ground, okay? There's always a circuit there for electric gears. It goes from ground to ground, okay? From the ground, through my foot, through my leg, through my hip, through the ball, back into the ground again. That's what makes me heavy and devastated, okay? I don't need my hands for this one right now. I actually like to put my hands behind my back to start off with, just getting used to this. Again, anything I do is core strength first, then legs and arms. Think about every position, every technique from that arsenal right there. So where my hips go, where my legs go, my hands are essentially out of the way. If you want them out here for balance, that's fine. I'm driving in and making connection with my hip. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a pivot. Very subtle motion right now to the opposite hip. Right hip, left hip. Right hip, left hip. Right hip, left hip. All the while I'm in control of where my weight is. All the while I'm in control of this ball. Okay, I can't possibly have control of this ball if I don't have control of myself. I can't possibly control an opponent before I control myself. Okay, I have to know where my weight's going. Okay, do it from a different angle. So, okay, right here. Here we go. Left hip, right hip. Left hip, right hip. There's an economy of motion when we do things in Jiu-Jitsu. I don't like to move any more than I have to a lot of times. Now, that's not just an old man saying in Jiu-Jitsu, okay, trying to conserve my energy, although it's a big part of this. But the more I move sometimes if I try to be fancy and elaborate, there's more chances of things going wrong. Okay? I tend to like simple first. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay. That was review, but it's a good stretch. That arcing back, it works the small of my back. I do like doing that quite a bit. Okay, that's motion one. Next motion we're going to go ahead and do, or next technique, next position. Again, this is review. There's the hip right. Okay, think of this as a finishing position for purposes of our drill. Okay, so now the ball's to my side as opposed to directly in front of myself right now. Okay. And again, the contact here is with my hip, okay? It starts off with hip to hip, but of course I'm never heavy just because it's my hip driving into my opponent, into the ball. I'm heavy because I'm connected to the ground, okay? Look how I keep this, my right leg at a right angle right here. I like my toes pointed outwards. Okay, I'm flat on the ground. I'm really kind of digging with my whole foot. And it's from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, through the other side of the ball, back into the ground with this hand here, tucking in, keeping it in place. Doesn't go anywhere. It's nice and tucked in right now. Okay. And I can go ahead and switch. You can go ahead and drill this to the opposite side. Get a feel for this, get control. Driving in, I'm trying to pop the ball with my hip from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, back into the ground with my arm tucked in here. I tend to tuck, not with my hand, my elbow flared out, but with my elbow right here. Okay. Gives me a habit because if I'm not careful about this, I can get reversed when I have an opponent. So I always drive with my forearm and towards my elbow. I'm basically locking this in. I have good control of where my weight is right now. Okay. I'm feeling this out because I'm going to control, because I know where my weight is. I've mastered where the ball's going. It's not going anywhere where I don't want. And again, notice when I do these, speaking of which, in this case, my left leg, my far leg is well connected to the ground. I like this at a right angle, so it's the angle between my foot and my elbow through the ball through the ground. My back leg, in this case, my right leg is always kind of pointed back. Okay, digging into the toes. I'm not putting a lot of weight on my right leg. I'm not really depending on it. This is more insurance. Sometimes my structures, my structures will always sound within jiu-jitsu, but sometimes things are there primarily to hold you down. Sometimes things are there for insurance because I know the expected ways that my opponent's going to move. Okay, I can't go ahead and cover every necessity. Sometimes I have to move around right there. But a lot of times my positioning is not only securing and locking down for what I want to do at that point, for my control, for controlling my opponent. It's A, anticipating the typical ways my opponent would move so I can counteract them quickly. In this case, the reason why I have my leg back this way, my right leg, when I do this hip ride, is because if my opponent sits up, okay, or if I fall back this way, I'm guarded against that, okay? This foot connected to the ground right here can drive back. If they try to go ahead, imagine this is an opponent, their head's facing this way, and they try to run away or they try to sit up, you're not gonna get that, okay? And I'm not too afraid of falling forward right now. Aside from my weight distribution, aside from the control I have, it's the way that I'm driving on my hips, not my head and my chest. I'm actually lifting my head up in this case, head up, shoulders back, and holding on to this position right here, okay? So that's a good hip ride right now. okay? If you're lucky enough to have somebody in quarantine or shelter with you that you can train with, go ahead, put them in that hip ride right there. They should feel a lot of weight on them. Okay, this shouldn't be a place where they can easily escape. You can kind of tell how things are going if you can misalign their hips over their heels. Right now, with my hips over my heels, I'm ready to kind of coil, swing, move out. I feel comfortable. If you misalign the hips and the heels, okay, kind of shove me down to the ground, this is a hard position to move out of it. Another definition of a good position I'll give you, okay, as a good position for me is where everything is lined up properly between my head and my feet so I can move it efficiently, okay? My core, my legs, and my hands, if you want to be technical about it, are lined up in the proper way and they're able to be coordinated. A bad position will be when your legs are going one way, your torso is going another way, your arms are going in a different direction, your head might be going here. All these lines are broken right now. This is not an efficient way to move, okay? Let alone fight, okay? So I'm always trying to line things up for myself. I'm always trying to think of ways of misaligning my opponent. And coming up with those lines right here, looking at the analogy of the hip ride right here, I think of those lines not only through my body, because again, I'm only so effective with just my body. I think about how those lines work from the ground. From the ground, through my leg, through my hip, through the ball, through the ground. One line right there, there's our circuit. Okay. And again, a lot of this tends to be subtle things right there. Some of this is not going to come off all that well on Zoom on the camera right now. I realize that. You're only going to feel it when somebody that knows what they're doing does this to you. But I at least want you to understand these concepts, or when you get down to it, when you actually get to train back here or in a sheltered place with a partner right there, why your moves might be effective or why they might not be effective, okay? Your ability to understand weight distribution, your ability to stick your positions, your ability to have control of yourself is really going to dictate how much control you can have over your opponent at any given time, okay? And that's a really important concept right there, okay? Control of yourself also not only relates to jiu-jitsu, yeah, a little bit of a soapbox right now, but if I can't control myself in other aspects of my life, if I know that I'll be more effective if I control and have a better diet, if I do exercise outside of the gym, and I can't do that, well, that's going to add up to not having as much control when I get into the gym, okay? I can lead to a bunch of different cases. I can give you really specific cases on people that are like that, okay? But the bottom line is the more control that you can exact over your own life, the more control you can have over situations. Even when you're in a situation that you have zero control over, such as this whole COVID-19 epidemic right here. This good friend of mine, Jocko, used to say, discipline equals freedom, okay? Self-mastery, okay, will equal freedom on this, okay? So enough of a rant, and quite frankly, a bit of a breather from you right there. Let's go ahead and combine some moves and concepts together from what we've done. So we can start off here, hip, to hip, to hip, to hip. Very subtle moves right now. Okay, I'm not a fan of big motions. I'm not a fan of motion for its own sake. But watch this. Now that I'm pivoted, say on my right hip, I'll move to my left side. I'm going to essentially do a sit out. Boom. Sit out. I'm pivoting on my hip, in this case on the ball. Okay, to move to the side right now. But now that I've done this, this isn't a good hip ride position. I'm going to come back from the ground to my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball back into the ground. I've moved from that simple pivot from hip to a hip ride. Okay, it's pretty simple to move back right now. I'll just go ahead and roll back. So my left hip is connected in this case. Okay, I can go ahead and move back and forth, and back and forth. Very subtle motions right here. When I'm ready for it, watch, I'm going to go ahead and do a sit out. When I do this sit out, I'm going to move to my right side. My left hip is what's connected to the ball. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sit out. I'm going to pivot. Boom. Staying in control of this ball. This isn't a good hip ride though, because essentially I don't have a backup plan on here. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot back. And now I'm driving from the side. The pressure goes here horizontally from where I was vertically. Okay, fairly easy to switch back vertically. Okay, also let's go ahead, roll it here. I'm in control the whole time. And then hip, 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 subtle moves. And now I'm gonna go ahead with my right hip connected. If my right hip's the one that's connected, I'm gonna pivot with my left foot right now, okay? Or towards my left side, hip right, excuse me. Sit out to hip right. Okay? I'll do this from a different view right now, so you can get a hang of this. Here, I'm pivoting. Hip, hip, hip. Okay, left hip's the one that's connected. Watch where I'm gonna go ahead and do a sit out, which means if my left hip's connected, it's my left foot that kicks forward right here, and I pivot back on my right foot. Okay, this is in a good control position right here. Fall off. Okay, so quickly I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back. I'm into a hip right now. Okay, come back. Okay, so we're driving through and being vertical right now. Hip, hip, hip. Okay. Again, my right hip's connected, so that's what I'm going to pivot on. That's my control point right here. I'm going to do that sit out. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and come back. So I have a good hip right. Back to vertical. Left hip connects. Watch as that left hip connects. Sit out. Into here. Okay. This one's hard for me to do slowly. Okay, so going ahead and making these motions. Basically, I'm treating this as a opponent. I'm treating this as a motion. Ball in some ways is irrelevant. This is an opponent. Okay, yes. And a lot of times opponents, well, they're not going to be quite still. They're going to move around on you. But I'm moving around. I'm trying to develop mastery of myself. I'm trying to develop my control. I'm trying to figure out not only how to keep weight on my opponent, but how to shift and move when I need it to. Okay, what are my key components on that? Okay. Because the better I can do that, the more I can deal with an opponent. The more control I have of myself, the more control I'll have of an opponent. Back, back, back. And you just can kind of freeform on this right now, treating it like an opponent. Okay? I don't like to be super rigid in my drilling a lot of times. I can do it to a certain point. When I'm learning a technique, when I need to learn the mechanics of the technique, very much you can go back and rewind, watch, set up a timer, do this for a variance of time, 30 seconds of time, a minute of time, basically mechanically working through. I think mechanically drilling, okay, on a non-live, non-resisting opponent, just simply getting moves. After you get the muscle memory of doing things, there's only so much you can do to it. It's a very small fraction of actually being able to get your move to work in Jiu Jitsu, which is bluntly why training in quarantine, training solo is very difficult within Jiu Jitsu. Okay, very difficult actually. Okay, so we rely more on the self-mastery movements right there. I worry much more about my control, okay, than I do about my opponent when I do these drills. Okay, but on that tangent right there, getting off of that for a second, okay, to a certain extent, kind of rigid motion, step 1, step 2, step 3, is useful for maybe about 20% of learning a technique, I would say. I'm pulling that number out of the air, but I just want to emphasize it's a fairly low percentage of actually learning and working a technique within Jiu-Jitsu, okay? At some point, you're going to go ahead, because you don't have stacked opponents, you have opponents that theoretically are equal or greater skilled than yourself. They're resisting, they don't want those things. So things are a bit more chaotic, for lack of better words, okay? So after I've developed those motions, to develop the level of comfort to do things solo, I need to be able to go ahead and chain things together, respond appropriately, control the situation, make my shifts, make my moves right there, but I do so in a less rigid fashion, okay? This is not movement for its own sake when I'm dealing with an opponent, okay? The idea that I'm gonna go ahead and move around and confuse somebody, you get to a high level, you don't confuse anybody, okay? Or they'll see things coming, okay? The idea is I'm gonna move around in ways so I'm ready for it, okay? It's neither offensive or defense when I move, okay? This is just simply movement for my sake right now, for my control, okay? See how I'm at. So I can go ahead and just basically stringing these together right now. I can go ahead and freeform a little bit, treat like an opponent, treat like my controls, Just get a flow for it. And I can go ahead and work in the basic context of what we did. Simply moving from hip, from a vertical position controlling the ball to the horizontal position here on the, as a hip ride right now. I know how to control each of these spots, okay? But I'm not rigid in how I move on. Switch, I can be going to the left and right. I'm gonna go back to this side right here, okay? I'm just gonna kind of free form it and play around with it. I wanna develop a level of comfort with this, okay? I wanna develop, for lack of better words, ultra instinct mode, okay? For any of you Dragon Ball Super fans out there, okay? I wanna be so versed in the movement right there. I wanna have such control of myself and such mastery of my movement, such mastery of myself, that I don't have to think about how I move, okay? Sometimes as an instructor, I'll confess that sometimes, for many instructors I've talked to, like explaining the moves to somebody else, it's important as an instructor, obviously, but sometimes it takes a bit of an extra thought in our process right there, because there's certain things we take for granted. How we move, okay, how I instinctually move, how I connect to the ground, how I throw my weight on that different spots. At this point, 20-something years into it, it's a very instinctual process right there, okay? It's trainable, but it comes with time, okay? And that's what we're trying to develop. And that's really your opportunity right now in this training to get that spot where we're going ahead and developing that comfort level, okay? If your comfort level isn't switching back and forth or the motion right now, I always consider motion to be the second part of learning things. I would say, like, get used to your static position first. Yeah, maybe you have to rewind and go all the way back to how I drive my hip in and how heavier I can be. And believe me, there's value on learning how to be heavier here, okay? Oftentimes, if I can be 1% heavier here than I was before, if I can make you 1% more uncomfortable, if I learn a little bit of a trick like that, I'm actually very happy about that, okay? It's the subtle things first. But after I get to a point with the subtles, I'm getting movement, so that practice, you get a flow for that level. Okay, just go ahead and go back and forth, okay? There's a combination of things. Quite frankly, within Jiu-Jitsu, which makes this, I'm not gonna say difficult, I'm gonna say deep and interesting art and something to pursue, is the fact that there's multiple things that have to go on, okay? Within myself, that self-mastery, okay? Before I'm ever gonna develop any level of effectiveness in Jiu-Jitsu, okay? And again, it's these base little concepts, base little moves about how to distribute my weight, how to move without in a confident manner, okay, that are going to lead me to better jiu-jitsu, better effectiveness, okay? Not necessarily some fancy move if I don't have these bases, if I don't have this understanding, if I don't have this core thing, okay? And again, we're working with what we can work with right now in this format right now, which is shelter in place. I don't have to keep repeating that. I don't know why I feel obligated to repeat that, but I'll say it again, okay? The large majority of what you do after you develop that self-mastery is then going ahead, you know, so to speak, the lab. I'm going ahead, I'm perfecting things in the lab. Then I have to go out to the field, I have to go out in the battle, and I have to test things out there, okay? And I say battle in the sense that like sparring, working against a regular opponent. Somebody that's giving me actual resistance that doesn't want me to be successful on that. So battle's a pretty apt word for it, but you know full well that in training, it's fun and games isn't quite the word I want on this one right there, but ultimately I want you to get better, so it makes me better on this. Okay, I want a better class opponent, I want a better class of training partner, I build them up, so it makes me better on this. Okay, it's one of the interesting things about Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. Covered pretty much what I meant to cover today, giving you some exercises of free flowing on the ball. If you want to, you can go ahead, shoot your own video, upload it to Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Tag me on that, either Gumby OTM or Heroes Martial Arts, Heroes MA. I don't remember which one. I got so many social media accounts, I can't remember which one is which, if it's Heroes MA or Heroes Martial Arts. Tag yourself moving on the ball. Tag your movement right there. Tag your solo drill. Let's talk about that and see what we can work on that, okay? One of the things that we can do right now with these Zoom type classes, these Zoom type sessions while we're in the shelter in place, I can't work with you physically, but I can work with you remotely. And we are set up right now to work remotely with you to answer any questions you might have based off of video, based off of live stream, whatever. trust me, we're more than happy to do that right now. Like our jobs are working with you, and we're sitting around right now thinking about ways of working better with you, thinking about ways of conveying and breaking this the situation we're temporarily in. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to leave the Swiss ball alone for right now. I might come back to it next week. I'm going to do some other stuff. If you come into class tomorrow, the Fridays I like to leave towards question and answers. Plus, for anybody that still is like supporting us at Heroes with their memberships, which I very much appreciate. I know this is tough times for everybody. I don't want anybody to hurt themselves doing that, but if you can, it's totally appreciated. And to show you that appreciation for that support, tomorrow we'll be raffling off a Dollar stay-at-home mat, okay, or a home mats right there, actually. The same one that we have on the website, we're going to be giving one of those away. So I'll be doing the raffle drawing tomorrow in class. Okay? Yeah, let's get rid of this. That was our middle point right there. Ball's going to bounce back towards the tripod. I know it. No, it's not. Okay, let's go ahead and do our cool downs right now. Cat and cow stretches, shoulders over hips, still one of my favorite. Big deep breath in through your nose. Cow stretch, diaphragm goes down to the ground. Exhale through mouth, cat stretch. Cat. And pointer dogs, watching you left and right. Reach out, stretch, fingertip to heel. Keep this parallel to the back. I'll do this with my breath. Not that I move with my breath ordinarily when I'm training, but it gives me a good taste when to move for these solo drills. I like to think about my breath in terms of that mastery of self. If I inhale through my nose, exhale through my mouth, so I actually don't think about it. Okay, it's just this unconscious thing. It's the proper way to breathe when I'm exercising these jiu-jitsu and I'm training when I'm fighting. I don't think about my breath too much. I just simply breathe. Okay, I don't think too much about my hip placement. I just simply put it on. Same way I breathe. I don't think about my heart rate too much. My heart just beats. My mind's going to be occupied doing other stuff when I'm training. Okay, because I know my mastery of self, downward dog, and I can focus on my opponent, what I need to do to them, how I can effectively control the situation. Upward dog. Tops of feet pushing into the mat out, kind of lift my hips up as I do this. Drive, go through. I really want to, don't think it was bent, but kind of a curve to me anyways. I don't know if that's proper, but that's what I do. And keeping your hands on the mat, child's pose. Hips over heels. Chest into the mat, arms out stretched, right leg over left. As you look, put your right leg over that way, you can start turning your head in the direction, but try to keep your shoulders on the ground. You get a better stretch that way. Switch sides. 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 Oh. All right. Gather yourself up. Fix your gi, fix your belt if you got one on. Like I said, I do this from the mousey. I also have to be presentable. I also have a start, middle, and end to that. Thank you so much for participating along with me. Again, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you soon. I miss you. Love you. Thank you so much.